this is a part 2 to my first video that I made about what it's like being aroace. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm so thankful for all the comments from my last video. It was my first time making this type of content, and there's still so much that I have to learn, but reading the comments was probably the best part in making and posting that video. And if this is the first video you're seeing from me, welcome. I am Rice, or Ricey. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm Filipino-Canadian. And I also highly recommend watching my first video on this subject. Not that you have to watch this first, but I recommend it. And yeah, I grew up with the internet and with fandom culture, and I've always loved consuming media, all types, and the prevalence and focus on romance and crushes and finding the one that will complete you is something that is everywhere, and it's in everything. It is inescapable, especially in fandom. And I can't even pretend not to know and understand the appeal of ships and shipping culture in general, because it feels good to see characters love each other and like have connection and, you know, see that and experience it. And I can't pretend that I didn't hyperfixate on those ship AMVs and MVs. In my first video, I said that I still identified with bisexuality despite being aroace, and I hesitated explaining on how I could be bisexual and also aromantic and asexual. Like, I like everyone and no one at the same time. It's been a very confusing experience, and don't even get me started on gender. I saw this graph on Twitter, and I thought that it explained bisexuality pretty well, so please take a look at it for a second if you need to. Okay, anyways, I do and I have experienced attraction towards multiple genders. Like, I feel it physically, like, I sort of lock up and I feel really awkward, and I also really want to impress them, or at least be noticed by them. I still feel the attraction physically, but it's not enough for me to say that I would actually want to be in a romantic relationship with them, or any relationship with them. And if I think about it too hard, I start to feel really sick. And also, please note that there are multiple types of attraction. I just lack in romantic and sexual attraction, which is also what being aroace means, if you've been paying attention. Also, attraction, especially sexual attraction, should not be confused with libido. That is a whole other complicated chemical, biological subject that I am not knowledgeable enough to explain in this video. But what I will say is, aroace people can still have a high libido. It's just a matter of attraction towards other human beings. That's what attraction is. My mouth is so dry. Yeah, anyways, now for an actual story. I have had what you can call a textbook crush, probably once, maybe. It was when I was in 11th grade. There was a person a year older than me, and at first I barely noticed them, but once I did, I realized that I felt things towards them. I found them pretty attractive and endearing. I also did something only someone who draws would do. I drew them, and they became my muse for a few months. And this was after the fact that I started accepting that I was aroace, and that was a label for me. But because of this new crush, I was getting confused all over again. And I can't even say it's because we were friends. We barely knew each other. When I realized that I had a crush on this person, I was equally despaired and also relieved. In a sense, I thought I was finally fixed, cured of all my woes and internalized hatred and queerphobia. But the fact that I was questioning myself all over again felt really depressing. I don't know how else to explain it. It did not feel good. When I gathered the courage to confess, it's kind of because I felt like I needed to, and not really because I wanted a relationship out of this person. They were graduating before me, and I thought that they should at least know about my feelings, because I kind of think that if you sort of have a crush on somebody and it feels inconsequential, I think that person should know. Inconsequential. Anyways, when I say courage to confess, it was barely a confession and I was not courageous. So how my confession went, they already knew that somebody had a crush on them and was going to confess. They didn't know it was me. So when the time came, my mind kind of went, it's me. Like, instead of saying it outright and saying it directly, I sort of just implied it. And then I ran away. That was not a confession of love, whatever I said. That was a terrible confession. It's very embarrassing when I think about it. And this was not the first time I've confessed my feelings to someone. The first time I did was when I was a child. There's this childhood crush that I had. I thought they already knew about my feelings, so I decided to text them. It was so long and the worst thing I've ever written. I don't even remember what it said. I just remember the feeling that I have when I think back on it, and it's Anyways, for this last confession that I've ever done, I was ultimately rejected, and was I heartbroken? Well, yeah, it hurts when you're rejected, when you're honest and you have your heart out to someone. But I also knew that I didn't want to be in a relationship with this person. Maybe it would have been a more interesting story if things went differently, but alas, we will never know. But what I do know is that it would probably never have worked out. We were just too incompatible as people, and that's okay. I often think about the fact that there is over 8 billion people on the planet. Like, how many people do you even see every day, let alone talk to? There's so much beauty in our differences and so much to know and share. If you're watching because you think you might be aromantic and asexual, I think you are, and that's okay. I'm just kidding. But seriously, deep down you may already know, and it's simply a matter of filling in the blanks and finding out your limits and boundaries. And I don't think proving the validity of your sexuality and how much of it you should feel should matter to others, as long as you know who you are and know what you're willing to fight for and put in the work and effort for. Not every queer person will experience the same things and the same feelings, and I think especially for aromantic and asexual folk, it's a whole nother subject together because it's a lack of both romantic and sexual attraction, and when it seems like the whole point in life is to find a partner and to have a family and to blah, 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 and all that jazz. And to that, I disagree. I think I said this in my last video, but I'd like to say it again, that I think life is meant to be explored and to learn and to enjoy things. And I think that everyone should be able to live the life that they want to the best of their ability. Or not, I don't know. I could just be saying shit. But I do hope that this video does help to whoever needs to hear. Anyways, this is the end. I hope you enjoyed watching, and happy July. And it's also Disability Pride Month. So happy Pride to those who experience disability in their everyday life that is watching this. My heart goes out to you. This July, I've been really trying to focus on art fights and doing attacks, and it's been really fun so far. If you'd like to add me, I'll put in my user in the description. I also realized that my Insta and my TikTok and my Discord were all misspelled. My username on those platforms is Rice McDicey, not Ricey McDicey, so that's my bad. I will also be uploading some OCE stuff on the short side of my channel, so if you're not interested in that, don't look at it. It's kind of embarrassing. But it's been on my TikTok and my Insta for a while, so I thought, why not? I think I've said all I've wanted to say about this topic, but if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm so grateful and thankful for every like and comment that I got in my last video, and even if I might not respond to it, I still read it, and I'm just so grateful and I'm so thankful and thank you so much. Thank you for watching. I'm still not sure what I want this channel to become, but I do hope that my subscribers will stay for the ride. Anyways, I will see you in the next video that comes out. I don't know when that will be, but thank you. You can go. You're free now. Goodbye. Bye-bye. This is the outro is always the hardest part.